Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I am talking about Elsa Bloodstone, Bequest by Cath Lauria, and this is from Aconite Books. There's a little look at their logo. It's part of the Marvel Heroine series. We had Domino and Rogue have had books already, but I am a huge fan of Elsa Bloodstone, so I grabbed this one and read it, and I'm going to let you know what I think. And frankly, I'm just going to jump right in. If you're not interested in my specifics, if you don't care what the book's about, you just want to know what I think, 5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely. This book was fantastic. I would stack it up against any urban fantasy book. Not that I've read tons and tons. I've read some Jim Butcher, Charlaine Harris, Kim Harrison. I read the first one of hers. Some Simon R. Green. Anyway, but there's plenty that I haven't read. But yeah, absolutely loved this. I gave it 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. And now I'll get into what the book is about. So Elsa Bloodstone. First of all, I guess a tiny history lesson. She is the daughter of Ulysses Bloodstone, who is a guy from a long time ago, who a meteor crashed to Earth. He took part of it, called it the Bloodstone. It went into his chest, and it basically made him immortal. And he's a monster hunter, gave him superpowers. I think he was created back in the 70s, but he was from the characters from way, hundreds of years, maybe more before that. In 2009, I want to say. I might have that wrong, so don't hold me to it. But Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, one of the greatest pairs of writers in comics, created Elsa Bloodstone. She is the daughter of Ulysses after Ulysses died, so not really immortal. But she's got a bloodstone shard. You can see it there around her neck. So she has superpowers. She's got a healing factor. She's got super strength, heightened senses, and she's been trained to fight monsters. That's what she does. So she's got a mansion in Boston. Frankenstein's monster, who is named Adam, lives there, takes care of the place. She's got a vampire lawyer. And this book starts with her hunting down a pack of rat men, which she's doing fairly easily. And then she's attacked by some mercenaries who want her bloodstone shard. She dispatches them, heads home to Boston, and when she gets home, she's informed that she has a guest who's this old lady in her 60s or so, claiming to be her half-sister. This is another child of Ulysses and some other woman. And Elsa has a half-brother as well, younger brother, who's off somewhere doing his own thing. So this woman says she's Elsa's half-sister. She had a bloodstone shard that was stolen from her. They look at some CCTV, security footage. You see this woman being attacked, losing her bloodstone shard. So Elsa agrees to help her, and this starts a whirlwind globe-trotting adventure as they go from secret base to secret base of Ulysses Bloodstone, trying to see if there are other bloodstone shards hidden away, trying to figure out who is after these bloodstone shards, and I guess that's all they care about. They're looking for bloodstone shards, and they're trying to figure out who sent these mercenaries. So anyway, there you go. That's the nutshell. The first chapter-ish, basically. As I said, I absolutely loved this. I'm a huge fan of the Elsa Bloodstone character, so I might be a little biased, but I do think it was very well written. I've never read anything by Cath Lauria. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Never read anything by her before, but I think she gets the character of Elsa Bloodstone gets it just right. She's haughty. She is snarky. She's British. So there's a lot of Britishisms. I don't know. No offense to anybody, but that's the word I'm going with. Britishisms. Slang and things that Elsa uses. I'm not an expert on how those from Britain speak, but it seems authentic, at least as close as the comic book gets. So yeah, I love the way the character is written. I think it's spot on to the comic. I like the other characters that are introduced, although essentially her half sister, whose name is Mahala, is essentially the only new character. There may be a couple others, but she's the biggest one, and she's an interesting character as well. She seems to have, perhaps, a secret. Is she really Elsa's half-sister? Why is she obsessed with getting her Bloodstone shard back? She says it's just a reminder of her father, and she has completely different memories, sort of a completely different relationship with Ulysses Bloodstone than Elsa had. But there seems to be a little mystery surrounding Mahala. What's going on with her? But she's well written. She's an interesting character. I enjoy Adam, the Frankenstein monster, the vampire lawyer. I don't want to spoil too much. There are some Marvel Comics cameos. There are some names dropped, but there's one character in particular from the comics who shows up and is in a number of chapters. Well, maybe it's one or two chapters, but is there. There's another character that sort of barely shows up, but technically is in it. The one that's in a couple of chapters, let's see if I can... It's a character that most people wouldn't know if they're not big comic book fans, except for the fact that they have been in, I believe, 2 of Marvel's Netflix's Marvel shows, or Marvel's Netflix shows. I know this character was absolutely in 1, may have been in a second one. So this character is a little more well known. Because I think a number of non-traditional comic book fans still watch, like the MCU movies, watched the Netflix shows. So a character that would be, I wouldn't think anybody I knew had ever heard of this character before now know this character because of the TV shows. So I'm being very vague, but there it is. It's out there. See if you can figure out who it is. It's a character that I like a lot. Not as much as Elsa Bloodstone. Big Elsa Bloodstone fan. So we've got that. It ties into Marvel. Like I said, there are names dropped of different characters here and there because Elsa is part of the greater Marvel community. There's even... I'm going to give this one away. Because it's a character I love. And it actually, I think, pinpoints where this story takes place. But there is mention of Jeff the Land Shark. Another very obscure character. And just kind of like a little puppy running around. He's just a little baby land shark that comes from West Coast Avengers, their most recent run, when it was Kate Bishop and Gwenpool and the mutant dude whose name I can't think of off the top of my head, and I believe America Chavez was there. Don't remember the whole team. Anyway, they fought some land sharks, and Gwenpool sort of adopted this little baby land shark that she named Jeff, who ended up with Deadpool. And in the last Deadpool series, Elsa Bloodstone was in it. And I guess she maybe got Jeff. I don't know, because I haven't finished reading that series. But anyway, very excited that there's a reference to Jeff the Land Shark. So I love those types of Easter eggs. And then the big bad that's revealed at the end. Very cool. I liked it. And that's the only part that doesn't, for me anyway, doesn't have that straight urban fantasy feel. That's when, again, for me, it becomes the most comic book. Up to that point, it's, you've got a character running around the world, fighting monsters, looking for magical objects. Very much has that urban fantasy feel. Even though we're throwing in names of comic book characters and, another character shows up, some things happen. But it is the very end that feels like a comic book novel the most. Which isn't a bad thing. It is a comic book novel after all. It's Elsa Bloodstone, Bequest. So, yeah. I'm not sure what else to say about the story itself. I think I've given you plenty of information. I don't think I've spoiled too much. Gave you a little quiz, see if you can figure out who this character is that pops up. Telling you there's mention. It's not like Jeff the Landshark is in there. If Jeff the Landshark was in this book, it'd be 6 out of 5 stars. Because it's Jeff the Landshark. But I just love that he's mentioned. Yeah, I think hopefully I've piqued your interest, and you'll go out and check this book out. If you're a fan of Marvel Comics, it's a good book. I've not read everything that what did I call them? Aconite has put out. Not all of them interest me. I've read the Doctor Doom one. There's an upcoming Dark Avengers one that I'm going to read, but this was a no-brainer, and this is so good. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. See, I lost my train of thought there. If you're a fan of Marvel Comics, I recommend it. If you're a fan of the character Elsa Bloodstone, obviously I'm going to recommend it. If you're just a fan of urban fantasy, give this a try. Yes, the end becomes a little very comic book, but it's not bad in any way. I mean, I love it, but it's the least urban fantasy part of the book, but the rest of it, I think, is going to satisfy any urban fantasy fans. So there you have it. Elsa Bloodstone, Bequest, Cath Lauria. Oh, I would absolutely love if there was a series of these. Whether Cath Lauria, which, hey, go ahead, get her to just write a whole series of Elsa Bloodstone books. But even if they get different authors to do it, but they shouldn't. They should give the job to Cath Lauria. But I would not hesitate to pick up more of this. So good. All right. That's enough gushing over this one. One of the best comic book novels I've ever read. So, if you have any comments, questions, or corrections, or if you think you know who the special guest star is in this book, go to the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comics, board games, and fuzzy animals, is EricSmith5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. And that's it. This has been the Low Budget I almost said interview show. Because you should check that out too. Check out my Low Budget interview show. But this has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.